Now let's go in and I'm going to show you why I use the spin faces script and how it comes in handy. I'm going to make 3 boxes that are hexagonal, that is 6 points with different numbers of polygons sharing those 6 points on the outside. The first box will be 2 faces. The second box will be 3 faces shared by 1 point in the center. So I'm going to do edge loop split here, split face, and you'll see that now there's, instead of 2 faces, since we've put a point in the center, there's 3 quad faces in this arrangement. They all still share 6 points on the outside. And in this one, we're going to make 2 points in the center, and that'll be 4 quad polygons sharing those outside 6 points. And now I'm going to show you how it's useful to change flow with spin faces, as well as deleting geometry. Okay, select these 2. Let's hit spin faces. Whoops, it disappeared. Okay, sometimes that could happen. And in case it does, it's easy to fix that. Select all of them, go to Edit Polygons, down to Normals, and Set to Face. And go up to Edit Polygons again, Soften, Harden, and Make All Hard. And close that out, and now you shouldn't have that problem. Select those 2 faces again. Spin it so it spins the edge all the way around, and we want it at that angle. Okay, so that's a change in geometry flow when we do it in that sense. Now I'm going to select these 2. I want those 2 to spin. Now you'll notice that now we have, let's spin it again, we have 2 faces now right here where I'm going to move this back, sharing 2 edges. Now if I select one of those edges, it'll delete both of them. So now we have the same arrangement as the first one and the second one. For the third one, same thing. We're going to select 2 faces, top and bottom, and spin that edge all the way around. One more time, bring it back to where we want it. And now you have 2 sets of faces that are sharing edges, and I select one of each, and it automatically deletes the other one when I delete the first one. So now they're all in the same arrangement. Okay. To better illustrate this example, I'm going to make a plane here and extrude a few polygons out of it and show you what I mean by how if you change the flow by spinning faces, it gives you a more organic feel to the mesh. Okay, wireframe shaded. I'm going to select 3 faces, 1, 2, 3. I'm going to extrude that out, pull it up. Okay, let's smooth out this mesh. Go to Polygon, Smooth, open that box up. Leave it at 2 and make sure keep geometry borders and keep selection borders is off. You'll see it's a little bit, it's rounded, but it's not very organic. It doesn't blend back into the mesh well enough. But if I spin these faces at the edge here, and on the other end, I'm going to push down these edges a little bit, scale them together. Okay, now when I smooth it out, it has a more organic flow and it flows back into the mesh more naturally. And that's very important for doing extrudes in bodies and stuff when we build a human body. Okay, next we're going to go over the Polyscope tool for adding fine detail to your model. Let's make a sphere, zoom in here. Double click on this and it'll bring up the Tools tab. Now the Polyscope tool, we basically can paint in geometry changes like pushing and pulling geometry. You can see the arrow there pointing inward along the normal. You can pull it back out also. See the arrow is changed and is red and facing outward. You can also smoothen out those by using the smooth function. And the last one is erase. It'll revert you back to your original state before the Polyscope tool. Okay, you also have different fall-off types here on the profile, and you can push here, add an opacity. Let me change the radius here to 9. See how big the radius now is? Generally you don't want to sculpt at that level. You can leave it at 0.06, nice and small. And the opacity at 1 pulls all the way out for pulling. If you leave it at 0, nothing happens because there's no opacity to the tool. Now it just does a little bit at a time, so you can go over it a few times to get the desired effect. Your other options here are the reference vectors. You can change it. Oops. Okay. If you're pushing on the normal, it'll move in along the normal of the mesh. But you have other options as well. You can pull this out. You can make it first normal. The first normal you select, all the other points afterward will move up towards that first normal. And now see how different it is from just normal, which pulls it out in the general direction of the normals of the individual faces. View is based on your actual view. So push it in along the sides of the mesh from the view you're working in. Okay, see if I go around, the arrow changes. Next we can do it in X, Y, and Z as well. So you can see that the arrow now faces down the X on push. Now if I switch it to pull, it's down the other way on X. You can do the same thing for Y, up and down, using push and pull, and also for Z, going back and forth on the Z-axis, with push and pull. And if you click make the max displacement 5, look how far away it would displace if we clicked on it. But we don't want to use that high of a displacement. We'll just leave it at 0.5. And now if I click the flood button, it floods the whole thing with what it is right now, so 0.5 displacement. So if I do erase, it takes me back to the original mesh. Scroll down here, you have also options for reflection. So you can do X, Y, Z reflects. Whatever happens on one side will automatically happen on the other side, as you can see. So that can come in handy when you're working both sides of the body at the same time. You can also do it in Y and Z also. Z, you can work backward and forward at the same time. And Z, you can work up and down at the same time. And that's the most important stuff in the Polysculpt tool we're going to be using later on.